right, our next speaker is currently living the subject of his talk tonight. Jon McGee is the Vice President of Planning and Public Affairs at CSB+SJU, as well as being a newly published author. And this academic year, last fall, he and his wife began 12 consecutive years of undergrad tuition payments for their 4 kids. He may have the title of Vice President in his work on campus, but if Jon were running for office, what he wouldn't want you to know is that he's on a bowling team in Cold Spring. That's not it. That's not it yet, but yes, thank you for laughing. But he bowls a 150 average. And I think we can all agree that as Americans, we would not vote for somebody that bowls under 200. I mean, come on, right? Please welcome Jon McGee.
Don't hit start yet. Until I want Stephanie, it's really bright up here. Thank you, Anna and Megan and Bridget. That was really moving, what you just did. And I'm really sorry that I'm going to assault you with economics for the next 8 minutes, 10 minutes. After that, that was really quite fine. And so here we are. Now you can start. I bowl, and I like it. And I'm not very good at it. And it's hard to be accepted on a bowling team in Cold Spring, Minnesota when you wear Harry Potter glasses. It's not normal there, but you can learn a lot, as it turns out, at a bowling alley. Most of it profane, but some of it actually useful at a bowling alley. And there, last year, a guy on my team that I don't know very well, we'll call him Roger, only that's actually his name, Roger, and he went on a random rant about college isn't worth it. Why would anybody go to college? You just learn to be a paper pusher. You don't do anything important. Roger, actually, he's a farmer. He's a dairy farmer. Roger's not been to college. And he went off in a rant. And I had a moment of choice at that point, right? I could take on Roger and talk to him what I'm going to talk to you about, or I could do what I did, which just says, dude, shut up and bowl, which is what I did, which was the cowardly act. But at a bowling alley with Harry Potter glasses, that's what you do. You don't take those issues on. But that sentiment about whether college is worth it and that it may not be has gained some traction, particularly as the cost of college has risen. And as a parent of 4 kids, which in modern parlance counts as a litter of children, in contemporary times, everywhere but Stearns County, we're very Catholic. I should be worried about this. Peter Thiel, founder of PayPal, generally really rich guy, which means he has a microphone, in November of 2014, wrote a piece for the Washington Post where he described college as a tournament that bankrupts the losers and turns the winners into conformists. He had 3 criticisms of college. There's little value added. The winners would have won anyway. 2, it's a zero-sum competition where only those who attend elite institutions win and everybody else loses. Poor us. And 3rd, that even those who do win do little more than perpetuate the status quo. That's all it is. College is a creativity killer. It's a remarkably narrow view of the world, and it's wrong. It's dead wrong. Is college worth it? Hell yes. Now, why do people go to college? Is it really nothing more than economic self-interest? Well, no. The reasons students choose to go to college have actually changed very little over a long period of time, and they're not all economic. Do they care about getting better jobs? Yeah, 86% of new entering college students nationally say that getting a better job is a very important reason for going to college. Hoo-ha. They can read labor market signals. They hear that from their parents. They hear it at schools. It's smart. It makes sense. It's also true. But they also express strong interest in cognitive outcomes. As it turns out, they're interested in learning. Who knew? Most say they wanted to learn more about things that interest them. 3/4 also say they want to gain a general appreciation of ideas. In other words, their motivations are more complex than suggested by Peter Thiel's winner-take-all thesis or Roger the Bowler's nothing happens rants. So let's frame what defines a college outcome in the first place. How are they shaped? Let me just go with me for this for a minute. No matter how I drive my Volkswagen, it will never become an Audi, ever, which is too bad. No matter how much I wish for it, I will never be taller than 5'5". In fact, I'm getting shorter, and my kids remind me of this every day. College isn't like that. It's not like anything else you buy or any other kind of experience. Students are the input for their own output. So from the vantage point of a student, there are 3 easy-to-remember conditions that they control. Their aspiration, what do I seek to do? Their preparation, what am I prepared to do? and their motivation. How hard am I going to work, and what choices will I make to use my preparation to achieve my aspiration? Those factors influence where they choose to go to college, what kind of college experience they'll have, and what happens to them when they're out of college. There are also conditions that they don't control that influence the college outcome. Things like the economic demand for certain skills or services or experiences, which are dynamic. The cultural demand for certain experiences or values, which are also dynamic. The quality of preparation, how good was your education? And finally, often overlooked, luck. It is always good to be in the right place at the right time or the right age at the right time. In any case, that influences the outcome. So is college really worth it? Absolutely, in economic terms, and more than ever. Are the economic returns real? Absolutely, they're real, on average. This is one of my favorite charts. You can't see it very well. I'm really sorry about that. It displays median incomes of 80 different academic disciplines across a lifetime of work for individuals, for people who have a baccalaureate degree compared to people who don't. It's messy, it's wild, and it's full of lots of information on this chart. The upshot is that irrespective of the degree, those with a bachelor's degree typically earn more than those who have lower levels of educational attainment, and the premium lasts through the course of a lifetime. Overall, the picture is powerful and positive. But we know that colleges don't control labor markets, even though we get tagged with that, right? But we don't control labor markets. We don't control the economy. Opportunity isn't guaranteed, and it wasn't for any of us coming out of St. Ben's and St. John's. None of us. But you can think about this in terms of the probability of opportunity. And here, too, the results are unambiguous. The probability of employment and being in the labor force and having higher incomes rises with each successive level of education completed. This chart, the last one, shows the unemployment rate for 25 to 34-year-olds. Young college graduates, 2.5%. A third the unemployment rate for those who didn't go to college. The lifetime return to college is 15%, net of cost. The historic return to equities is 7%. Is that a good investment? Hell yes, that's a good investment. College completion is actually worth more than ever. So for those of you who are millennials, it's a really good time to be a millennial because they make more than people who are the same at that point in their lives, prior generations, earned in real or inflation-adjusted dollars. That premium reflects two different conditions. First, today's young college graduates simply earn more than people who are the same age in earlier generations. The second is that young people who didn't go to college have suffered. The labor market is killing them. There are not good jobs for people who have no college education at all. The labor market has issued a verdict. It's powerful, and it's often painful. Given those returns, it's not a surprise that those who have completed college overwhelmingly describe their education as having paid off. That is, there is a value that exceeds the cost. Value is important because it decouples the thing from just price. Did it cost a lot to go to St. Ben's and St. John's? Yeah. Hell yes, I got it. Was it worth it to go to St. Ben's and St. John's? Yeah. Okay. But we typically describe value in economic terms, but we also describe it in non-economic terms, and that's where I want to finish. If this was only about economic returns, we could end this story right now and I'd leave. But I'm not going to, because I have 3 minutes. So I'm going to look beyond economics, because they shouldn't be the only motivation. It misses the point of social value, aspiration, and motivation. We make life and professional decisions through the prism of our values and what we value, and it's not always economic. So you should take some time to avoid falling into two traps. The first is that everyone can make the same choices. Well, no, they can't. We can't all be doctors or engineers or accountants or mathematicians or dancers. The economy in the world needs people with many different skills. Some earn more than others, but they're all needed. People who like what they do and are skilled at it are better at it, and they make a difference. Arranged occupational marriages mostly fail. The second trap to avoid is that the best majors are the ones that associated with jobs that are hot right now. Really, that's called clairvoyance, and it doesn't work. And like chasing stock market returns, most people end up making bad choices when they do that. It's not possible to predict the return and value of most occupations over the long term. Most of the jobs that are going to exist 30 years from now, many of them don't exist today. And so to think about that, I'm going after this job today, it might not exist tomorrow. The best strategy is to pick a discipline you enjoy, build a broad set of skills that allows you to adapt and change as the world changes, and that's what we call a liberal arts college. And that's why they're important. Finally, and where does that leave us? College has two important roles. The first is transformational development. These are fancy terms, right? Focused on intellectual, social, spiritual, and personal development. Call it soul craft. The second is instrumental empowerment, focused on the development of skills required for a successful life. Call that career craft. We frame them as if it's an either-or choice. It's not. Each needs the other. Neither can survive without the other. Successful professionals have strong work skills framed by a strong arc of values. Each is hollow without the other. And colleges need to do a better job of talking about this with prospective students and families. How do we describe the value of soul craft and career craft? And can you even demonstrate that? How do we ensure that students make choices that best suit their ability and aspiration? My oldest son is a first-year student at St. John's, and he's trying to pick a major. He's really, really deeply concerned about this. I think he's paralyzed that he might be unemployed. I hope he's not watching, that when he's done. He's not going to be unemployed. He's a smart kid, but he's really worried about this major link. Don't. Do what you like, Andrew. That's what you ought to do. You'll be better at it. St. Ben's and St. John's have always put soul craft and career craft together. We don't see them as separate. We don't want to produce students who can only answer what questions. We want them to be able to answer so what, now what, and why questions, because those are the people who make a difference in the world. Those are the people who change the world. So, is college worth it? Hell yes. Thank you.